Hello everybody, and welcome to Mass Effect Revolution. Before I go any further, if you're looking for actual gameplay of the Mass Effect games, this ain't it. If you're looking for a tabletop campaign version of Mass Effect, this is it. If you're looking for the very beginning of this tabletop gaming story universe, this is not it, because this is actually season 2 of my Mass Effect tabletop campaign. Season 1 was a game that I hosted a couple of years ago as of this recording, but I also have that posted on my channel. So you don't necessarily have to have seen season 1 to enjoy this campaign, season 2, but just be aware that there are going to be references back to season 1, possibly some spoilers back in season 1, but they are not necessarily directly related to each other in a story sense. This is a completely separate story, but it takes place after, as a sequel of Mass Effect Collision, which is Mass Effect Season 1. Anyway, now that I've gotten that out of the way, if you're still with me, welcome. We are here with our 4 players. If you have not done so, if this is your first time seeing these videos for Mass Effect Revolution, if you're curious, I do have a playlist of the entire interview process and audition process that went into this game. So if you kind of want to see the origins of this whole thing and seeing the green-eyed, bushy-tailed versions of these 4, now that they today are seasoned tabletop gamers. If you wanted to see them audition for this and go through the ranks, please feel free to follow them on the audition playlist. Otherwise, at minimum, I highly recommend that you take a look at our session 0, because in our session 0, we meet together for the very first time and we talk about each of our characters. So it's a great introduction, a good way to refresh yourself for all of these characters before we completely dive into the story. Highly recommend that you check that out if you are able to. Regardless, welcome, and welcome to the 4 of you. Excited to see you all.
Oh yeah. Excited to be here.
Yes. So enough of me talking. I'm going to have you guys talking now, because we are going to begin with... What are we going to begin with before we start any session of campaign?
The pre-starting question.
Yes, the warm-up question. Yes.
That thing that you have everybody do and cause everybody hardship for.
Yes. Yeah. This actually is the 4th? Is this my 4th or 5th?
I think you started doing it after...
This is my 5th.
Yeah.
This is my 5th campaign. Yeah, this is the 5th campaign that I posted online. I also have seasons 1 and 2 of Dragon Age campaign. I have a Pokemon tabletop campaign that I just finished before this one. And as I said, this is the 2nd one. So there's 5 tabletop campaigns. If you're curious about the other ones, I'll have links all over the place. So anyway, at the beginning of every single session, I do something called a warm-up question, and that is supposed to kind of get people into character, maybe start having them think of things about their character they might not have given as much thought before. Today's session, because this is session 1, the warm-up question is very simple, and all it is to explain to everyone why you chose the class and race for your character, and that's question number 1. Why? We'll start with that question. Why did you choose the class and race of your character? We'll start with that, and then we'll go into the secondary question. So who would like to go first? Okay, go ahead.
So, you guys, I'll give you a quick briefing here, because I assume some of you haven't watched session 0 or the interview process. I'm playing Nathan Callahan. He is a human vanguard. I picked human largely because they're so mixed and varied as a race and species, even in this particular setting, that you could basically be anything and anyone, and you would pretty much be viable as a human. And I decided, I know humans the most because I am, of course, one of those, I think, maybe. Not entirely sure on that. Um, and it just sort of appealed to me more. Like I was tempted for a few other bits and pieces, but I was like, this kind of like I wrote up the concept, and I'm like, yeah, this kind of this appeals to me more than anything else I had in my mind at the time. And the reason I went with Vanguard is he is a Biotoball superstar, and we had a bit of a chat about it in party, and we were thinking about classes for everyone, and I went with Vanguard because he is you know lead off. He's the lead offensive player on his team, and he uses a lot of his speed and agility. And I was thinking, okay, what class kind of represents that? Well, you have Vanguard charging around the battlefield and being everywhere at once, kind of thing, and doing all that. And I thought, you know what, that rings perfect sense for Nathan, and that's what came to mind. So that's how I chose Nathan's race and class.
I chose Turians because they have a sexy level of 9, and and I chose the class Adept because who doesn't love playing with space magic? Like, come on, it's space magic, and that will be a lot of fun. And that's basically my decision making for both of those. So yeah.
I chose Solarian mostly because they're probably my favorite race in all of the Mass Effect universe. It's the resemblance to our own little green men, I suppose. It's just the fact that it's an entire race that is driven by intelligence and intellect, and that developed differently than humans did. And I thought it would have been like absolutely amazing to RP as that. And I chose Infiltrator because I felt like it definitely like matched Vito's personality. He's more someone that will think before acting. He's someone that would definitely see the way the battle is going and try to influence it to their advantage.
So the reason why I picked AI is because I like AIs, and I really wanted to try to make a different type of AI of the ones that usually appear in the Mass Effect universe, that feel kind of distanced from the other races. Like always, when they talk, they talk in a different way than they like refer to everyone as the creators or and such. And I also picked the engineer class because I don't think that Gimme would be an aggressive kind of character. So I picked one of the classes that has the most like supporting skills and such. So also because it's an AI and can interface with things and with electronics and such. So yeah.
The second half of the question is, tell me one thing about your character that is very similar to yourself, and one thing about your character that's very different from yourself in real life.
For in regards to what's similar, I would argue what's similar in regards for me and my character would probably be the extreme amounts of femininity and the ghee, like not the ghee, that's the wrong word. The glee. I'm a very excitable person. I put a little bit of that into Dia as well, in regards to like her drag persona. And something completely different is I'm trying to be sexy with Dia, be like more flirtatious. I've done flirtatious before. I'm not the best at it, so I'm gonna try doing that with her, and hopefully it turns out well.
Something that's similar, I suppose it's kind of the whole fanboying thing, because I'm someone who can hardly like, how can I explain that? Like if I like something, I'm going to like it like 200%. I'm going to like buy everything about it. I'm going to absolutely adore everything. I'm going to eat that thing like for years. Like it's still the case with Mass Effect. It's still the case with Fallout. And in Vito's case, it's the case with Indiana Jones. And I'd say something that's different is that Vito is, I would say, is a lot more confident than I am. Which hasn't shown so far, but he probably has a little bit of a superiority complex also.
Oh.
Ooh.
Which is not my case at all.
So one thing that is similar from Gimmick is that I don't know if you noticed, but I like to ask a lot of questions. I don't know. Since a long time ago, I just started to asking questions, and I like to as a way of starting conversation and getting to know more things. And I think that it's different from Gimmick would be that I will try to make it more naive and childish than what I am, and maybe because I'm planning to make him evolve as the campaign goes along. There will be more things later on that are different from me.
But the thing that was very similar between me and Nathan is our massive personalities. We walk into a room and we can't help but kind of fill up the room and be not the center of attention, but be noticeable from most places. Nathan has his ways around that, and I do too. But the thing that would probably be the most different, I'd say, would be Nathan's lifestyle. Nathan has scrounged and basically had to gravel his way through life from the start, but he made it, and now he's not sure how to feel about that. Like, he doesn't know what to do with money. And, you know, I'm very much the opposite in that I was lucky enough to grow up in a family that, you know, supported me and helped me, and now I'm working a good job and I'm making money, and I know how to, you know, save money and all that. And luckily he has a close-knit group of agencies that help him out with, like, investing and saving money and, you know, making sure that he's not, you know, spending all of it on charities, which he would do if he could, but he can't because people just say he shouldn't. But you know, that's definitely the biggest difference. Nathan is a lot more conservative when it comes to money and, you know, being a big spender. He doesn't often show up in like a big flashy car or, you know, own a ship or anything like that. He doesn't own like his own private, you know, cruiser or something like that to fly around the galaxy.
All right, everybody. So this is the very first session of an Angel Arts tabletop campaign. What is the very first thing that always happens at the beginning of every campaign?
Roll initiative.
Yes, roll initiative. Because we're about to do, what are we about to do?
Yummies.
The origin stories. We're about to do origin stories. All right.
Wow.
So everybody roll initiative, and we're going to find out what order we're doing these origin stories in. All right. Looks like Dia Irons has a 16 at the top, followed by Gimmick with a 12, followed by Vito with an 11, and Nathan at 10. This actually is perfect order. I was hoping we're going to get something like this. Perfect. From a narrative standpoint, this order actually works very well. Okay, so...
Okay.
Dia. Right now you don't exist, Dia, because right now you're Logan. The year is 2186. Logan, you are 7 years old. 2186. Now, your family lives on Earth because you are an adopted Turian, as you said, from a human family. And right now, your family is actually on vacation, kind of, sort of, because your dad is on business. Your dad goes on business trips all the time. But this time, your dad decided to take the whole family to, surprise, surprise, Dublin, Ireland. So...
I am greatly offended, sir. Your accent is still terrible.
I know. I will let you correct my horrible accent. But so your vacation in Ireland. Maybe you've been here before. I don't know. Your family is relatively well off, and you right now, Alan, your older human brother, is 13. Okay, so your dad currently, it's the middle of the day. It's like just after lunch in the afternoon, I would say, roughly, and your dad is on a business trip right now, having some sort of like meetings after meetings. Your mom decided that your mom, Vanessa, decided she wanted to take a spa day today, so she's doing her own thing, leaving the kids to their own devices. Alan, at age 13, decided to take his little brother, Logan, decided to take him to the park, to just hang out at this nice public park, relatively close to the hotel that you're staying at. There's kids, playing on the playground equipment. You've got your typical slide seesaw, merry-go-round thing, the spinny thingy, jungle gym, bars, monkey bars. Yes, are you about to correct me something about Irish culture that I need to know about?
No, actually, you're correct, but there is actually a park in Dublin called St. Stephen's Green, so that's probably where you are. It's a fairly famous park in the middle of Dublin, so there you go.
Okay, what are some of the features of this park? Like, what other...
Well, it's usually surrounded by these modern glass concrete buildings. There are several walkways. There's a lot of seating for the older people who like to come around and chill out. There's big ash trees, several centuries-year-old ash trees. There's your playground for young people, which has that foam kind of flooring to stop people from injuring themselves too badly from falling off stuff. And there's there's a few soccer, soccer.
Yeah, football, soccer. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, goals, and there's probably one or two security officers patrolling, considering.
Okay.
It's a fairly popular place.
So we're gonna say that that's roughly how it looks like. I'll bet with a futuristic spin, in the year 2186. People are walking their dogs. Some people are playing football / soccer, however you want to refer to it as. Kids are on the jungle gym and all that good stuff. You know that Alan brought with him a frisbee, which is more of a futuristic looking frisbee. It actually has a motor on it, Alan and maybe you brought something with you. It could be a book. It could be, I don't know. Maybe you brought something with you as well. I don't know.
You brought a Ken doll.
You brought a Ken doll. Okay. So you're there. Alan's kind of holding your hand. You just arrived at the park. And he's going to look down in your direction and say, "Well, Logan, what do you want to do?"
Logan just looks around. Looks at the other kids playing in the park, gets a little shy, just snuggles up against Alan.
You're predominantly surrounded by humans. Predominantly.
Mm-hmm. Logan is going to say to Alan, "Can we go somewhere private, Alan? There's the humans won't like me."
Why don't you think the humans won't like you?
Because last time in class, Veronica, she wrote a nasty letter.
What did Veronica say to you, Logan? What did she write to you?
She said I looked like an ugly dinosaur stick thing. I don't know. She was mean. And he's gonna hold his Ken doll. He's not answering properly. He's not giving any detailed answers. He's just looking at his Ken doll, distinctly uncomfortable with the humans around him, and it's just looking down at the playing with the little doll.
Logan gives you a very understanding look, and then he kind of he bends at the knee, and he kind of bends towards your direction so that his face meets yours a little bit, because he is a bit lankier and taller than you. And then he puts a hand gently on your shoulder, and he says, Logan, look at me. Look at me. Vanessa doesn't know what she's talking about, okay? She's obviously not worth your time. So you can't let people like that get to you, alright?
Logan looks down a little bit and then looks back up, and he's gonna say, on his face, he gives off the impression that he doesn't believe what Alan is saying.
Okay.
But it's very clear, from the body language and from how he's like looking up at Alan, and before he responds, he looks a little back down at his Kindle, and he's gonna say, "Oh, okay. What do you want to do?"
He says, I asked you first. You said you wanted to go somewhere private so you can hang out with your buddy. Do you refer to the Ken doll as Ken, or did you give it a different name?
I would give the Ken doll the name Dia.
Dia. Okay. Do you want to go somewhere private so you can just hang out with Dia?
Logan nods at Alan, a little bit shy, and just like snuggles up against him, pulls against his leg, maybe just pulls down his pants a bit, as he says, "Can you carry me? Can you carry me? Please."
He sort of like sighs a little bit.
I want to be a princess, please. Please.
Logan, even princesses, you know, they can't just be damsels in distresses all the time. You've been watching too many of those movies where princesses always have to rely on somebody else to do things for them all the time. You're better than that. You're better than those princesses that just relies on other people to rescue them.
Logan smiles a little bit mischievously as he just like shakes a little bit from one foot to the other as he says, "But I want to be carried. Come on, please, please." And he just like puts his arms out.
Yes, Your Majesty, Alan says, finally giving in. So he's gonna like crouch down on the ground, and that when he crouches down, that allows you to be able to like climb on his shoulders, like sit on his shoulders. And
I
then,
like do the annoying thing of like pull on his hair, like violently pull it down as I get up and get comfortable, and I just like dump like the Kendall on his head, forcing him to like stay still or else it falls, and then I'll cry about that.
all right. So you climb over his relatively curly hair, dark curly hair, and then he just hoists you off and says, "Oh, Your Highness, I think you've been eating a little too many of those cupcakes, those Turian cupcakes, this morning. No offense."
"Don't worry, I know you're a weak guy," and he just shakes his head.
"Oh, shucks, thanks," he says. And then he's going to proceed to walk you towards this large tree, this relatively large tree that seems to be away from the rest of the kids. And he sort of goes, "Whoa!" He like not like fake like falls almost to like scare you a bit, but I don't know.
Logan's giggling, having fun. Her legs are like tightly crossed around Alan's neck, like uncomfortably tight, as he's just like holding on.
You'll giggle and laugh a little bit, and several of the kids will turn towards your direction now that they see this. From up there, more people can clearly see, oh, there's a Turian in here. And I mean, for the most part, they just give you a glance and they're like, okay, and they go back and doing their thing. There might be some of the younger humans that might not be used to seeing aliens in these parts, like maybe like the little 3 or 4 year olds that sort of stares in your direction. But other than that, nobody seems to give you any mind. But eventually they'll get over to the tree, and Alan will bring you down. And then he says, "All right, you go hang out for a bit. I'm just going to be playing with, I'm just going to be throwing the frisbee around You think you can? You think you can just hang out?
Yeah.
I'll be right over. I'll just gonna be right over there, right? You can see me.
Dia just plumps down as she just Logan and plops down as he starts playing with Dia.
Okay.
And just pretends that his Ken doll is like a contestant on Drag Race, his favorite show as a baby.
Yeah, that's cool. So, I mean, Alan's not gonna go very far. He's probably gonna be just like a few, like, at most 30 feet, not quite even that, 30 feet away, because he wants to make sure he can see you. But he's just gonna throw the frisbee around, and it's motorized, so actually there's a setting that kind of lets it, you can throw it and then it comes back to you, like a boomerang, kind of. So he's just kind of practicing throwing the frisbee around by himself. Maybe one of the kids comes over and asks if they could see it. Oh, that's so cool, blah, blah, blah. So he could show it. So Alan, actually, he's a relatively outgoing kind of person. You know, not nearly as outgoing as Nathan, but, you know, he's not socially awkward. So, yeah, you play for about 20 minutes or so. And after 20 minutes, Alan's going to come back. And, the sun is, like, the sun is, it's not too hot because it's actually relatively cloudy. So he comes back, and he says, "So, what's Dia up to these days, Logan?"
Dia has like set up the Ken doll. Logan, I mean. So this is gonna get confusing fast. Logan set up the Ken doll so that it looks like it's strutting. Like one hand is like out on the sides by its hips, one leg forward. He tried the best he can to make sure to give him some like curves by having one like his bum being off on the side. And Logan says to Alan, Dia's just on a runway. She looked good. I lost your dress though.
You lost her dress? Well,
I don't know where it went. I didn't like it though, so it's fine. I threw it in the garbage.
What was wrong with it? Why'd you throw the dress in the garbage?
It was purple and orange. Those colors don't look good.
Well, what color does look good, you think, for Dia?
Teal and purple.
He thinks for a moment. He puts a hand to his chin, and then he kind of looks around, and then he goes over to something catches his eye, and there's like a garbage, like trash can thing that has this box full of that's full of wrappers, like wrappers from a fast food restaurant or something. So he goes over to the trash can, and then he rummages through the wrappers a little bit, and he grabs one. There's a little bit of like melted cheese on one of the wrappers, but it's actually a purple wrapper from some sort of fast food restaurant. He like takes his shirt, and then he like tries to wipe the cheese off of it with his shirt, and then he goes over to you, and there's still like this cheese like that's kind of caked at the bottom of his shirt a little bit, which he's trying to like wipe off, but not very successfully. So then, but the rest of the wrapper is clean. Go ahead.
Dia's like giving Alan the look of the hell are you doing? That's ugly. And she's just looking at the cheese and looking at him, and one eye is like arched, one eyebrow, and he doesn't say. It doesn't mention about how much he hates that there was cheese on the wrapper, but Logan says, just puts out his hand and says, "Can I have it?"
I don't know. You gave me that look before I brought this to you.
I'm sorry. It's just you don't make good decisions sometimes. Please.
He's about to give it to you, then he takes it away, like playfully. And then once again, he leans towards you, and he puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "Logan, sometimes in life, you don't always get what you want. Sometimes all you get is all that you get. And sometimes you just have to make do with what you do have. I know this isn't perfect. I know this isn't like, you know, the type of dress that you think Dia might deserve. But sometimes you just gotta work with what you got, you know?
Logan nods and sighs. Fine. Can I get the wrapper now?
Yes, Your Highness, he says as he hands it over to you.
Thank you. And then she starts like putting the wrapper. Her hand touches some of the like leftover cheese residue, and she just goes ugh, ugh, and shakes her hand, disgusted. But she makes do. She makes he puts it around the waist, makes it like little nice cute skirt, and just like starts like grabs the Ken doll, just like starts violently shaking it in her hand, in his hand.
Okay.
As Dia says, I'm doing. Look, Dia's doing Vogue. And she's like shaking the doll everywhere. It just looks like a mess.
Dia's always been way talented at dancing, much talented than me.
It's not that hard.
Yeah. He sort of like hangs out with you for a few more minutes, and then he looks up again and says, Hey Logan, come with me.
Logan gets up and just scampers over to Alan's side.
Alan is actually gonna sit down on the grass, and then he's gonna lay down on his back, looking up at the sky. You and him have done this before, several times. And so I'm assuming you're probably gonna follow suit, and you're gonna look up at the clouds. And then, so you guys have done this. It's sort of like what you know that Alan likes to do this to clear his mind. You probably have seen him do this once before, and you're like, maybe the first time you saw him do that, you're like, what is he doing? Like, what is that? What is Alan doing? And then you kind of like lie down on the, like at the grass next to him. But now it's sort of become like this thing that the two of you do, like this really brotherly, like intimate thing that the two of you do. And so Alan looks up at the clouds and says, all right, Logan, what do you see? Looking up at the clouds. What do you see?
Clouds.
I know. But we've been through this. Like, what do you see in the shapes? Like that over there. I think that cloud over there looks like my math teacher, Mrs. Krobankatonk. You can see because of her nose over there, although I think that nose is a lot straighter than hers actually is.
Dia just gives Alan the look, because she's looking at the same cloud, and all he sees is some what he sees is completely different to Alan's. So he just pokes Alan in the side, and he's like, "No, that's not Miss Kerbunkdunk. It looks more like Mrs. Doubtfire."
Have you been watching those old movies again?
Dia just nods. They're the best. I like them.
Mrs. Doubtfire is a classic, he says. I know it was one of my dad's favorites when he was a kid. My mom's too. How about over there? He says. He points at this big, bulbous-looking mass of clouds. What do you think that looks like?
A pimple?
Okay. I sort of kind of see a pineapple, but okay, a pimple works too. How about that one, he says. And you're looking at that cloud, and you're trying to figure out what it is. Roll a perception check, Logan. 21, all right. You're looking at this cloud, and it looks really odd. So you're trying to figure out what this thing looks like, because it kind of looks like a big bug-looking thing with long tentacle-looking things and arm things, and then you're like, that cloud,
son of a bitch.
That cloud's looking kind of dark too. It's like, but it's weird. Like that's the only dark cloud in the mix. Every other cloud, it's nice and sunny, and all the other clouds are white, and that one's looking darker and darker and blacker and blacker, and then you realize that doesn't look like a cloud. It almost looks like a big giant ship with tentacle-looking arm things.
Logan pokes Alan, and he's like, Alan, that looks like Mrs. Kerbonkadonk.
What? What the heck is that? He says, as he looks at the thing. So he's very confused, and then suddenly you guys start hearing screaming in the distance. Alan sort of sits up and looks towards the direction of the screaming. What do you do, Logan, when the screaming in the distance starts?
Logan is probably just gonna cover his head like this. He's gonna say, and he's just gonna snuggle up against Alan. He's a little bit getting scared now.
All right, you're not really sure what's happening.
Yeah.
All right. Alan like looks towards the over your shoulder, and his face like goes really white, and his eyes grow wide. Do you follow his gaze, or do you stay like snuggled up to him and not look where he's looking?
I feel like most children would look, and I feel like Logan would look too. Look at what he's looking at.
You'll look, and there is another massive Mrs. Kerbonkadonk, but a really huge Mrs. Kerbonkadonk. Huge, massive one that's actually managed to fly down maybe like 4 or 5 blocks away. And you can see it clearly from that distance because of how large it is. And you can see this big, giant red beam shoot down at this building. You can hear an explosion as debris goes all over the place. Mass screaming and hysteria ensues, and there's this big glare, this big, like, twisting of metal. It's like nails on a chalkboard, but times 23. Like, horrific sound as this, whatever this mechanical thing is, seems to be shooting things down in the city. Meanwhile, it's Gimmick.
Son of a gun.
Well, that's a cliffhanger if I've ever seen one.
Miss Kerbunkadunk is angry.
Miss Kerbunkadunk, yes. I'm sorry about, I insulted your nose. I'm so sorry.
I'll do my homework next time.
I'll do my homework, I promise. Gimmick. We're going a bit further back than that. The year is 2018.
Oh, okay.
The year is 2018. This is the first time, this is when you were born. This is the first time that you actually have gained consciousness ever. So you start to realize something. You start to realize, that's the thing, you start to realize something for the first time, because like you went from not realizing things at all to now realizing things. And at the moment there isn't like a visual, you're not getting any visual data, there isn't like a webcam or anything, but you can sense something, creature, I don't even know if you understand what a creature is even at this point, but you sense some activity of some sort happening, and from your standpoint, it kind of tickles a little bit, but you can hear sounds. You can hear sounds, and you can hear tapping, something tapping, and you can hear some mumbling. Some sounds that sounds like mumbling. Again, you're trying to like figure out what mumbling means. What do? You have something uploaded into your memory gives you the concept of speech. So at this point you have enough awareness that you're able to speak if you want to speak, and you understand basics of language, and you understand that normally that is how you will gather more information.
Yeah. Well, can Gimmick interact with the whatever is holding it? Like
not physically. At least as far as you know, you don't think you can interact with anything physically yet. Right now, you're a blind child, if you want to call it that. A blind child who's... Yeah, like a voice in a box, basically. I can't do that, Dave. I can't do, yes, I can't do that, Dave. Hopefully not that type of voice, but...
Please. Oh, God.
So yeah, the first thing that Gimmick would say it's hello.
You hear a voice. Now, out of character, it's a female voice. Maybe you don't know what a female versus a male is.
Yeah.
But the female voice responds, hello? Hello? Maybe it was a bug.
Sorry, I got confused. I should have said hello world.
Oh my god. Oh my god, are you actually talking to me? Oh my god, this is actually working? Oh my god. Oh my god. You hear like ruffling, like papers are ruffling and something's moving around on this desk or whatever you're on. And then you hear saying, "Killer! Killer! Wake up! Wake up! It worked! It worked! What? It's working! Gimmick is working! It just spoke with me! What?
Gimmick?
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize you were still listening. I thought I muted. Sorry. Hi. Yes. Your name, do you understand me? Your name is Gimmick.
What's a name?
A name is a word that we use so that we know who we're communicating with, interacting with. Does that make sense? So
yes.
When I say Gimmick, that means I'm communicating with you, Gimmick.
Oh, then I'm Gimmick.
Yes.
Oh.
You understand me. Keller, it understands us. It actually understands us. This is amazing.
What's your name then?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I completely forgot. My name is Connie, and this guy, well, not that you can see anyone, this is Keller. Say hi, Keller. Wow.
Hi, Keller.
That's it? I was kind of expecting, I don't know, its voice to sound a little, I don't know, more than that, I guess. I think its voice is cute. Don't listen to him, Gimmick. I think your voice is absolutely cute. Maybe we can change it a little bit. Maybe we can have him sound like, I don't know, Morgan Freeman or something. I think that'd be cooler.
Chris Evans. Chris Evans.
Actually, Connie will say, or maybe Chris Evans. And he's like, who? And so, Captain America. Oh, right. Personally, I'm more of what's that Star-Lord guy's name?
Oh,
okay, whatever. She says, and then she says, Gimmick. You probably have a lot of questions, and I will be more than happy to answer them. So shoot, ask me whatever question you want, and I'll try to explain it to you.
Well, I can feel so, but I don't know what it means. It's hard.
What do you feel? What does it feel like?
I don't know. It's different. Like, it's unexpected, but it feels like I'm doing things, but I don't know why. It's strange.
Keller, are you writing all of this down? Why am I the one that's documenting all this? Well, I'm the one that's communicating with it. You can record everything. Oh, fine. Let me find. Ruffling, like fine. Go ahead, keep talking. I'll write. Actually, where's my laptop? This will be so much easier if I just type. He says as he shuffles around with some things.
Why are you typing?
We're taking notes. Oh, we should probably explain why you're here, Gimmick. So
Okay.
Keller and I, we go to school. Do you know what school is?
Yes.
Let me let me do something, and then she types in a little bit. All right, Gimmick, I just gave you limited access to the internet. The internet is sort of like this thing that we call where a whole lot of information is. So you can look up things like what is a school and all that good stuff. And you should be able to learn things at a pretty fast rate. It's not a perfect connection yet because, you know, firewalls and all that. But you know, it's at least enough to hopefully get you to understand that we're students in a class, and our teacher, yes, you understand teacher? I'm sure you can look that up.
As you're saying this, Gimmick will start popping up images of the things you're saying, like teacher and school, and
Yeah.
oh, yeah, this is, wow, it's so cute.
Right now, the image, one of the first images that you find in school is like the Zoolander image of him with this big towering guy with this small school, this really small school. So that's the first thing that pops up is the Zoolander school for
Look at that cringe from Mikey.
people who read good or something, or whatever that school is called.
Wow. I understand now.
Okay, good. So we're students, and we had a project, you see, that we had to work on. Our teacher, Dr. Chakwas, asked us to do a project, and she wanted us to come up with basically a machine that accomplishes a simple task in a very complex way. So your name, Gimmick, GMIC, you stand for Global Machine for Internet Catalog. And all that means, it's a fancy way of saying that we built you so that you can go through the internet and just catalog and label, categorize images on the internet.
Oh, and why is that important? It doesn't seem like something that I would like to do.
Oh, she sort of like is a little taken aback by that.
Oh.
Oh, well, we were doing it so that we could learn more about AI and how the internet works, and I was hoping that you would be able to learn a lot too.
Oh, so you think it would be good for me?
I hope so.
Oh.
Yes, the Keller says, especially if we get a good grade out of it. Well, that too.
A man after my own heart.
So precious.
If you like it, then I guess I like it too.
Okay. Well, let's see if we could run a few more tests, and then we're gonna actually take you to class tomorrow to show you off to the rest of the students. Is that something that you would be willing to do?
Yeah, to school.
And if we do well, Dr. Chakwas will give us at least a high B, but I'm aiming for the A. A would be nice.
We would make a picture of a high B, like appear on the screen, like this one.
To be smoking weed.
Sort of. Yeah, we'll go with that, Connie says.
Oh, is that good, right?
She says we'll teach you more. We'll teach you more about things. Yes, we'll teach you more. So they're gonna continue like interacting with you, and then you'll have a sense of the passage of time, I think. So the next day, you know, they'll temporarily like shut you down at some point, but then they'll bring you back up again. And
how does that feel? It's like sleeping.
It's like sleeping, hibernating. It's like sleeping. But you'll wake up again. If you want to say that you feel refreshed, you're welcome to say that that's how you feel. And this time they've actually like added a visual component to you. So there's actually a webcam So now you can see the classroom, and they even gave you like control of the webcam so that you can like at least rotate vertically or horizontal. Or you can rotate on the vertical axis.
Horizontally.
Sure. So that you can see more, and you can start seeing what you have looked up on the internet as humans. This is mostly a classroom of humans for the most part. And you can start identify pretty easily based on your research who's the students and who is the teacher. There's this woman at a desk, and the nameplate, you can read the nameplate on the desk says Dr. Isadora Chakwas. And Dr. Chakwas will stand up in front of the class and says, "All right, class, we have the next project to be presented. Connie Werner and Keller Chambers. Please stand up to the front and present your project." So Connie Werner and Keller Chambers will get up there. You'll see Connie for the very first time, and Connie, she's got some mousy light brown hair. Keller Chambers has fiery red hair, and they get up to the front of the class, and Connie is going to. You'll see Connie standing, or notice Connie standing right next to you, Gimmick, and she'll say, "So Keller and we worked on a very really exciting project that we think is a breakthrough in AI technology. May I introduce Gimmick? Say hi to the class, Gimmick."
Hi, class.
And then several of the students, you can see their faces like immediately get very like intrigued and very like, wow, did it just speak to us? Just now, this isn't a recording. Like this is an actual AI that's interacting and reacting to everything that we say to it. So Gimmick, how do you feel this morning?
Oh, that's a hat. Oh, you have mustache. Oh, so many things. This is great.
Yeah, as you can see, Gimmick is constantly learning things, and he's able to download information from the internet, and over time, it should be able to become a ridiculously handy and useful supercomputer. But for the time being, Gimmick, do you remember, Gimmick, what your name stands for? Can you tell the class?
Oh, it stands for Global Machine for Internet Catalog.
And what is your purpose, Gimmick?
My purpose is...
There's a pause.
Oh.
What's going on, Keller says.
What's my purpose?
Keller says the cataloging images on the internet, right?
Oh. Yes. That's the thing. That thing that you said you liked. Yeah. I catalog images on the internet.
What are some of the more interesting images that you've cataloged, Gimmick? And as soon as she says that, you can see the look on Dr. Chakwas's face, and she looks very nervous, very nervous. And Dr. Chakwas says, may I remind you, Miss Werner and Mr. Chambers, that we are behind the firewall. So, yes, I understand, Connie says. And Keller says, oh, nuts.
Gimmick would have any images like stored or something like that to show?
Okay. Safe for the classroom images. Okay. But if Gimmick really wants... So Gimmick understands what safe for class means.
Yeah.
If you want to bypass the firewalls and show things that are not safe for classroom, it is up to you. You have the freedom to do that. But that's your choice. That is your choice.
Well, the first thing Gimmick would show is the picture of a cat. Because cats rule the internet, so it would be fitting. So, yeah.
Kitty.
What can you tell us about this image, Gimmick? How you're cataloging, or what sort of data are you applying to this image?
This image is catalog labeled as king
King?
because yes, it seems like it holds some sort of like control over you because over the internet because it's the picture I found the most and different and varied poses and yeah. So yeah, this is the most important image I found. So that's far.
All right. Can you show us another image?
Well, let's see. And he will look around, and the second image we will find will be like a meme of the internet, and I don't know what kind of meme. Let's see, like Forever Alone or one of those. And this one seems to be also very important on the internet, and it's cataloged as sad.
Sad?
Yes.
Do you understand what sad means?
Not really, but there are a couple of things in this image that make this character look sad, like the tears and the face, the way his mouth is positioned.
Very good, Gimmick, very good. Okay, well, just to prove that you guys that none of this was completely scripted, we're going to have some audience participation from the class. So if anyone in the class wants Gimmick to look up something, just give him a word that he would try to look up, and he'll try to catalog it for you. So she's going to ask the class for input. So Mikey, Mikhail, and Kiwi, if you'd like to roleplay as the class, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you'd like to ask Gimmick to look up something from the internet. Any of you three. Okay, so she'll point. Yes, Derek. Dr. Chakwa says, pointing at this boy in the back.
Tattoos.
Ooh.
Tattoos. Could you please catalog and show us tattoos?
Well, now it's when he would start to use that thing, that ability to go through past the firewall.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
So, tattoos. I don't have that many images of that in my database. Let me further my point of view, and I will start to shine right, and you will find like a picture of someone tanning in the beach and kneeling back down, and you can see it's like topless, but you can see anything, but it's like, it has a tattoo in the back. But yeah, like ramping up.
They say, very good, Gimmick.
Derek is looking highly regrettative of that decision.
Connie's looking a little nervous. She's like eyeing over at Dr. Chakwas. And Dr. Chakwas is going to say, let's try to be very careful of which choice words we're using, please. All right? Thank you.
Did I look good?
That looks great. That looks great, Gimmick. Thank you. Can we get another suggestion from the class? So Mikhail and Kiwi. Okay, go ahead. So they'll point to another student in the middle.
How about pastry?
Ooh,
pastry.
Let's see. So it would look a picture of maybe a model or something posing and holding pastry or something like that. I will let that to you.
Okay, some sort of pastry.
Yeah.
So that looks like it would taste really good, Gimmick. Are you familiar with the concept of taste?
Let me see. And he would look around and and maybe we'll show a picture of a portrait, and there is a critic looking very. Maybe this is taste.
Some of the students start to giggle a little bit. It kind of is, sort of. That's a certain type of taste, Gimmick. That's very good. No, you're very good. That's very close. One more word from the audience. Connie says, and Mikhail, if you'd like to give the last word.
What about a Picasso painting?
Oh.
Ooh, that's very specific. Can you show us an image of a Picasso painting, Gimmick?
Yeah, and I don't know if there is any like inappropriate picture of painting of Picasso to show, but
don't think there's an inappropriate one. But
no, okay.
He doesn't have an appropriate.
So maybe we'll look on the internet and find an artist like a DeviantArt artist or something like that that goes by the name of Picasso and put really odd drawing of I don't know, like an elephant all screwed up and so.
Okay.
It's a Picasso, so this a Picasso?
It's the same style as Picasso, but I don't think that's actually one of the Picasso's paintings. At least not the Picasso that all of us would know.
Oh, and here we will show it like a picture of like the Wikipedia of Picasso. I don't know if there's any. This is a Picasso?
That is Picasso, as in historically the man Picasso. But can you see any of Picasso's works, any of his paintings?
And yeah, here he will actually show a picture of Picasso.
All right, so he'll show one of the more famous like Picasso paintings, but he'll say, "So Gimmick, this painting of Picasso, what do you see in the painting?"
And Gimmick would be like, I can see a face, I can see someone holding someone else, I can see I can see someone expecting, I can see someone a hand, I can see, and he will start to name things that maybe if you look at the picture, you wouldn't find those things. Like I can see an helicopter, I can see, and I can see a refrigerator, I can see, like he's seeing, like as if he was looking at the clouds, he will start to see things in the picture.
Wow. Wow. That's really impressive. You can see all those things, Gimmick.
Is it? I like it. I like it.
Well, yeah, that's the beauty of Picasso, Dr. Chacos will say. You can more than one person can look at a painting and see completely different things.
Oh.
So Dr. Chacos will then turn to the students and say, "Is there does the class have any questions for?"
Can I ask one?
Dr. Chacos looks a little bit like surprised by that, and she turns towards Connie and Keller, and Keller says, "Gimmick, we don't have time for questions from you. We gotta let the students ask the questions."
Okay.
Connie looks towards your camera, and she has a little bit of a, because it looked like she was about to respond, but then Keller like interrupted her. So the teacher looks at the class and says, "Are there any questions for Gimmick or Connie and Keller?" And again,
Can
if
I
any
ask
of
the again interrupt.
Connie says, "What is your question, Gimmick?" She says, she like interrupts before Keller says anything. "What is your question, Gimmick?"
How do I look?
Gimmick, right now, you look like a laptop. Right now.
Oh.
You know what a laptop is, right?
Yes, and he will show a picture of a laptop.
That's where you live right now, Gimmick.
It's a pretty laptop?
And I think it's fine, she says, as she says, it's got some nice decals on it, from, various concerts I've been to.
Oh. Thanks. And he will just stop.
The teacher will then say, "Class, do you have any questions?" And again, if any of the three, Mikhail, Mikey, or Kiwi, if you have any questions that you think the class would ask, either Gimmick or the project, the students who made Gimmick, you're welcome to ask those questions now.
Are you getting any Terminator feelings, Gimmick? Any Terminator feelings going on in there?
The class starts to giggle a little bit. Some of them more nervously than others.
Terminator feelings. Let me think. Yes, I think so.
Keller says, maybe we should move on to another question. Completely different question. Some of the students like look at each other like, they look very uncomfortable.
Oh boy.
No, well, maybe Gimmick, then we show a picture of Terminator doing something like good. So yeah, he, like to reassure things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like this, right? Like crying or something like that.
Right. Some of them will be like, oh, okay. I think that's all right.
It's a gif of Terminator's thumb just sinking into the lava.
Just sinking into the lava. Yes. Does do the other two have a question that you think the students would ask?
Derek raises his hand.
Derek, please keep it appropriate. Dr.
I apologize, Dr. Chakwas. So I have a question for all three of you, if that's okay, Gimmick and your two creators. How did it feel to create life, and how does it feel to be born, Gimmick?
Oh, does it look like Gimmick wants to answer that first, or is he gonna let the other two answer? Well, Gimmick is an AI. I don't know if born. We don't know if born's really the right word. I mean, we created Gimmick.
I mean, it's the word I used, so go with it.
I wouldn't call Gimmick life. I mean, he's a machine. He's a machine that was created to do a very simple task in a complex way. That was what the assignment was. And that's what he is, and that's all he is.
Right. Gimmick, what's your answer to that one?
Well, and he will like take a moment, and the screen will flash, and he will be like, I don't know how I feel, but let's see. And maybe he will, I don't know if a picture of childbirth or something like that, but I think it would be painful if a laptop came out like the babies do. So I think it was painful.
Connie says, you didn't tell me it was painful, Gimmick.
Well, not for me, but for whoever gave birth to me.
Gimmick, you weren't. Nobody gave birth to you. We just created you. We just turned you on.
Oh, but you created me, so didn't you give me birth? Aren't you my dad, and he's my mom? He's my mom.
Keller says, I think you're a little confused, Gimmick. Like we're definitely not your mom and dad. Like, you mean, like, first of all, I mean, Connie, no offense, she's not my type. Connie kind of looks at him and she's like, no offense taken. And Keller says, second of all, it doesn't really work that way.
Oh, so who's my dad and my mom?
I mean, Gimmick, if Gimmick wants to see us as his parents, Gimmick can see us as his parents in his way. All right, I'm just saying you don't want to confuse him, because, you know, that could be way worse.
Yeah, that's it.
So, Dr. Chakwas will say, well, thank you very much, Connie and Keller and Gimmick, for your presentation. We will now go on to the next student. And then there's like claps.
Yay!
And then Connie goes in front of the computer and says, good job, Gimmick. I think everybody loved you.
I loved it too.
Great. She says, all right, we're going to turn you off now, and I will talk to you later, okay?
Okay, see ya.
All right. And then she'll shut you down.
Whee.
Meanwhile, jumping to the future again. Vito. It is the year 2193. 2193. You're at the university in Surkesh studying history. And you currently are having so there's normally like the big lecture, and then you have the separate subclasses where there's a teaching assistant who sort of like heads that class. And this is your first day taking one of the history classes, and this is a history of Surkesh. 201, I'm gonna say. And the teaching assistant, who you've seen before, it's just another Solarian. And the teaching assistant, you never knew the teaching assistant's name. I think the professor might have mentioned it once. And then, but he goes up to the front of the room, of the classroom, and he writes down on the whatever their version of a chalkboard is, and he puts down his name. All right, good morning, class. I am the professor's teaching assistant. My name is Jalon Laurent. I would like for everyone to please open your books to page 393, and we are going to discuss the homework that you did last night. If you remember, the homework was for you to write a small paper, a one-page essay, on what part of Solarian history spoke most to you, or what part of Solarian history did you feel was very important to you. Let's start with... He's looking at the roster. Vito is how you pronounce your name?
Yes.
Yes. Could you please tell us, Vito, what did you write your essay on?
Well, I thought about it a while. I do enjoy the culture. I do enjoy everything we have progressed about the science and everything, but what I find most interesting is how we kept our culture alive. If you look at museums, you can find every little part of our past, and I would love to know more and further down. I want to see what happened before that, and I want to see how our culture evolved. I want to see what happened even before we left the water.
Jalon will nod, and he will say, thank you. And he'll look at the roster again, and he'll ask the same question to some of the other students, and then they'll give their answers.